Ocean Marina on the eastern seaboard running south of Pattaya contains many great things. I mean, today, for example, there's the annual boat show, getting more glamorous by the moment, it seems to me. And if you go around behind that great tower there, where some people who love boats live permanently, you'll come across a factory that builds ships, like this one. Actually, the story of this ship starts here in a very large shipbuilder's shed directly behind me. It's also part of the Ocean Marina complex, with the beautiful bay at one end and the hard working area at this end. This ship is also the product of both Thai workers and designers and an Australian expert in the area of design, using computers and all the other modern aids that exist. And it also brings home the fact that Thailand and Australia now have ever closer links in trade and in ventures such as this shipbuilding one. This fine craft will eventually go to Australia, where it will work in the tourist industry in the north of the country. Well, seeing a new vessel, from my point of view, is really exciting. Must be terrific from your point of view.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic to be completed at last.
I do wonder with a designer, what's the starting point after you get the client?
Generally we do a number of proposals, concept plans, and then present them to the owner, and then he gives his feedback, and then generally we incorporate what he requires or desires, and then from there the specifications are drawn up, and then contracts, and then off we go.
Yeah, so there's a bit of a build-up, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a big build-up, and a lot of them go through the process but never end up
going ahead.
Never end up going ahead. Yeah.
As the designer, though, do you then sit down at a computer to do your work?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
It's not a pen and paper job now?
No. No, it used to be. Used to be maybe 25 years ago. It was all done by hand, the majority.
And you're wanting to build a very attractive vessel, I would imagine, every time.
Oh, for sure. It has to get better every time.
Yeah.
Can't go backwards.
But you've got to, as you mentioned, you've got to take into account what the needs are for the ship, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah. Well, for sure, the operational needs of the customer, and also the safety requirements of the government or the area the vessel's going to operate in.
Well, this is a regular customer, really, isn't he, this fellow?
Yes, this is the third design I've done for Tony. The first design along the same lines was done in 2000. The second design was in 2006.
Whereabouts, in Australia?
In Australia. We designed in Australia and built both vessels in Australia by different builders. And
after you came here, another one came along.
Yeah, and this is the latest and greatest.
And Tony, from a business point of view, why would you come to Thailand to make your new ship to take back to Australia?
Well, I've actually had 3 boats, or this is the 3rd boat that I've actually had built by Paul, and I do like his design. It does perform, and when you're in a high or a medium speed vessel, you need it to perform, and these vessels perform well for us.
Yeah.
And he moved to Thailand. The sad part about it, you couldn't build this boat in Australia for the price or the labour, the amount of labour that's in them these days. This boat has had 70,000 man hours, and so you can put a price on that.
Imagine.
In Australia, man.
Yeah. Among the special guests today on this sea cruise that we're on off Pattaya is the Australian ambassador based in Bangkok, Mr. Paul Rebillard. An interesting side of your many activities, I would think.
Well, it's one of the better sides of an ambassador's activities. First, I get out of the office in Bangkok, but second, I'm able to be with some great Australians, some great Thais who are working together to produce a great product, which is this fine boat, the Reef Quest 3.
And yet everybody, well, a lot of the people behind it are from Australia who've come here to set up a business, a long way from home.
Yes, but they had to make a hard decision a few years ago. The cost of constructing a boat like this in Australia became quite prohibitive. So they looked around and realised that Thailand offered them the possibility of constructing a boat at a lot cheaper price, which made them competitive. But it's a win-win for both Australia and Thailand, because much of the material, what goes into the construction, is still made in Australia, shipped up here to Thailand, and then constructed here by Thai workers. It's a great example of Thai-Australia cooperation.
It sure is. And is that the kind of thing that you happily nurture, is it, in your role?
It's something that I really want to promote, and indeed it's something that we can do under our free trade agreement, is be able to bring the materials up here and send the finished product back to Australia without any cost of tariffs and so forth. So I actually use this as an example often when I'm speaking to Australian businessmen, to Thai businessmen, about the opportunities that we have.
Yes, it shows what's possible, doesn't it? And you allude to the free trade agreement, so this is one of the real benefits.
This is an absolute fantastic benefit of the free trade agreement, and we hope that other Australian companies, and indeed Thai companies, will look for the opportunities that it presents.
Now this is going back to Australia, this boat, isn't it, this ship? And I take it that the owner of this ship who ordered its construction is also an old customer, so there's a definite synergy.
Well, I think this is the third boat he's had constructed here in Thailand, and he's a big operator of tourist vessels in Australia, in Queensland, and he needs the product. Yep. He needs a boat to keep his business going, so it'll mean he'll be able to employ more Australians working on the boat, servicing the boat, and at the same time Thais are being employed to construct the boat, so It's a great thing for both countries.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.